The plateau of latent potential, the illusion of linear progress. We humans are wired to crave quick results. From an early age, we are conditioned to believe that progress should be neat, predictable, and linear, that every ounce of effort should yield an equal and immediate return. We go to the gym and expect to see muscle growth within weeks. We start a new business and expect to see profits by the end of the month. We learn a new skill and hope to feel mastery after a few attempts. But real progress doesn't work that way. In reality, progress is often invisible for a long time. It hides beneath the surface, growing quietly, building momentum, and accumulating unseen potential, and then, seemingly all at once, it bursts into view. It's a paradox. Nothing seems to be happening until suddenly everything happens at once. This is the plateau of latent potential, a powerful concept that explains why so many people give up just before real change occurs. The hidden work beneath the surface. Imagine you are standing on a frozen lake in the middle of winter. The ice is thick, unmoving, silent. But beneath that surface, the water is alive, moving, shifting, transforming. Your progress is much the same. When you start working toward a goal, whether it's fitness, creativity, or personal growth, the results don't always show right away. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Each small effort, each disciplined action, each repetition is like adding another molecule of strength beneath the ice. Eventually, the surface breaks, and what once seemed like an overnight success was, in fact, years in the making. The valley of disappointment. This waiting period, where effort and reward seemed misaligned, is what many people experience as the valley of disappointment. It's the painful stretch of time where you put in hours, days, or even years of consistent effort, and yet nothing seems to change. You go to the gym every day for 3 months, and your body looks the same. You write, film, or paint tirelessly, and nobody notices. You study, learn, and apply, but the results just don't come. And it's here in this valley that most people quit, not because they lack ability, not because their goal is impossible, but because the feedback loop is broken. The brain, craving evidence that its effort is paying off, finds none, and so it whispers, "What's the point?" But what if this valley isn't a dead end? What if the what if it's actually a hidden stage, the incubation period where potential matures before it spurs into reality? The bamboo tree lesson. There is a story often told about the Chinese bamboo tree, a perfect metaphor for the plateau of latent potential. When you plant a bamboo seed, you must water and nurture it every single day, but for the first year, nothing happens. The second year, still nothing. The third year, no sign of life. The fourth year, silence. By the fifth year, many people would have given up, but those who persist are rewarded. In the fifth year, the bamboo shoots up, growing at as much as 90 feet in just 6 weeks. So the question is, did the bamboo suddenly grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or had it been growing underground the entire time, developing a root system strong enough to support rapid growth when the time was right? Your own progress works the same way. What you call failure may simply be unseen growth. The compounding nature of effort. Every effort you make compounds, even when you can yet see the returns. Think of a glacier carving through a mountain. The change happens so slowly it's imperceptible to the human eye, but over centuries it shapes entire landscapes. Or think of water boiling. For a long time, it remains just water. 60 degrees centigrade, 70 degrees centigrade, 80 degrees centigrade, seemingly unchanged. Then suddenly, at 100 degrees centigrade, it transforms completely into steam. But that transformation wasn't sudden, it was the result of every degree that came before. This is the essence of the plateau of latent potential. Change is gradual, then sudden. Progress is like interest in a bank account that compounds invisibly. At first, the gains are small, barely noticeable, but over time, as consistency multiplies, the curve bends upward, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Why we misunderstand progress? The reason we so often misunderstand progress is because we live in a world addicted to instant gratification. We are surrounded by stories of overnight success, viral videos, $1 million startups, influencers who blow up in a week. But what those stories rarely show is the years of quiet, unseen effort that preceded that moment. Behind every sudden success lies a long plateau, nights of doubt, failure, experimentation, and persistence. But when all we see is the highlight reel, we start to believe that progress should feel exciting all the time. When it doesn't, we assume something is wrong. We think we think maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's just not working. Maybe success isn't meant for me. But success in almost every field is rarely about innate talent or luck. It's about enjoying the plateau, continuing to show up long after the novelty wears off. The moment everything clicks. Then one day, sometimes unexpectedly, something shifts. The code compiles, the body transforms, the song resonates, the business takes off, and suddenly people start calling it luck. But what they are really seeing is the visible part of the curve, the point where effort meets momentum and progress becomes exponential. The truth is, what looks like an overnight breakthrough is simply the moment the invisible becomes visible. All those repetitions, those glamorous, those unglamorous hours, those small daily habits, they were not wasted. They were building toward this moment all along. You simply reached the part of the curve where effort and result finally intersect. The science behind latent potential. There is also psychology and neuroscience behind this idea. Our brains learn and adapt through a process called synaptic consolidation, the strengthening of neural connections through repetition. The first few times we attempt a skill, our brain is simply trying to form a pathway. It's messy and inefficient, but as we repeat the action, that pathway strengthens. Eventually, what once felt difficult becomes second nature. This process doesn't feel rewarding at first because our brain hasn't yet optimized the road. But once those neural connections solidify, the progress the progress curve accelerates dramatically. The same is true in physical fitness, business, or any long-term pursuit. In the beginning, you are not just working on the outcome, you are building the internal architecture that will sustain it. That's why early results are slow because most of your effort is going toward building the foundation. The emotional side of the plateau. The plateau of latent potential isn't just a physical or intellectual challenge, it's an emotional one. It tests patience, belief, and identity. When you are deep in the valley, working tirelessly without reward, it's easy to start questioning yourself. You begin to internalize the lack of visible progress as a reflection of your worth. But remember this: progress and validation are not the same thing. The world might not recognize your effort yet, but that doesn't mean it's not valuable. Every step you take during this stage is laying the groundwork for your future self. The discomfort you feel, the frustration, The doubt, the fatigue, is proof that you are growing beyond your comfort zone. In a sense, the plateau of latent potential is the universe's way of testing your commitment. Do you really want this? Do you persist even when no one's watching? How to endure the plateau? So, how do we survive this phase, the silent years, the invisible work, the endless grind? Here are a few guiding principles. 1. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Results will come, but they are not in your control. What is in your control is showing up today, tomorrow, and the next day. 2. Redefine progress. Progress isn't always visible. Sometimes it's a shift in mindset, a deeper understanding, or simply the ability to keep going when you used to give up. 3. Create a small feedback loops. Break big goals into small, achievable steps. Celebrate consistency, not perfection. Let the act of showing up become its own reward. 4. Build patience as a skill. Patience is not passive, it's an active form of strength. It's the discipline to keep moving forward even when the finish line is nowhere in sight. 5. Trust the process. Even when nothing seems to be happening, something is always happening. Growth rarely announces itself until it's already too late to ignore. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Here is the beautiful irony. When most people quit, they are often right on the edge of success. They have already built the foundation, but they can't see it yet. They are one more rep, one more experiment, one more day of showing up away from their first visible result. But because the curve of progress is hidden, they give up before the curve turns upward. Don't make that mistake. Your effort is accumulating quietly, invisibly, patiently. Every step, every failure, every attempt adds pressure to the system until one day the dam breaks. The world will call it a breakthrough, but you'll know it was simply the moment your stored potential was finally released. The long game. Every meaningful pursuit in life is a long game. The artist who practices for 10 years before their overnight hit. The athlete who trains in obscurity before breaking a record. The entrepreneur who builds quietly before the spotlight finds them. They all endure the plateau of latent potential, the long, silent stretch where no one claps, no one notices, and no one believes except themselves. But it's precisely that endurance, that stubborn commitment to keep going, that separates those who succeed from those who stop. Because the plateau doesn't last forever, it's temporary, and those who persist long enough to cross it find themselves standing on the other side, transformed, elevated, and unshakably confident. Looking back from the future, imagine your future self 5, 10, maybe 20 years from now, looking back on this very moment. They'll remember the nights you almost quit. They'll remember the frustration, the exhaustion, the feeling that nothing was working. And they'll smile because they'll know that this was the turning point. This was when you were building roots. This was when your foundation was being forced. This was when you were preparing for the growth that would later astonish everyone, including yourself. From that future vantage point, you'll realize that none of the effort was wasted. Every setback, every slow day, every invisible step mattered. You were simply on the plateau of latent potential, the quiet before the breakthrough. Final thought, the quiet power of persistence. So, the next time you feel stuck, when the results don't match your effort, when doubt begins to whisper, when progress seems invisible, remember this: you are not failing, you are restoring potential. Like the bamboo tree, like the glacier, like the water waiting to boil, you are in the process of becoming. The plateau of latent potential is not your enemy, it's your proving ground. It's where faith, consistency, and perseverance are tested and where future greatness is built. Your job is not to see immediate results. Your job is to keep going long enough for the hidden work to reveal itself. Because when it does, when that plateau finally breaks, the results will look exponential, unstoppable, and miraculous to everyone else. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it was the product of every silent day, every unseen effort, every small choice to keep moving forward. You'll know that the plateau of latent potential wasn't a pause in your progress, it was your progress, patiently accumulating, waiting for the moment to bloom.